Joining me now for more analysis is Gordon Chang, author of The Coming Collapse of China and an expert in Asia policy. Gordon, welcome back to the show.
Thank you so much, Owen.
Mr. Chang, is the relationship, get right to it here, is the relationship between the U.S. and China doomed? And I'm not overstating that. I mean, this is a massive tragedy on a scale unknown before. What is your opinion on that?
I wouldn't say doomed, but I do say that it is destined to get worse, or at least less friendly. And the reason is Beijing needs someone to blame right now. It is very concerned about what the Chinese people think about the Communist Party mishandling the coronavirus response. And so they blamed the United States. And they've been doing this not just recently, but going back to the end of January when President Trump imposed the travel restrictions and quarantines. We've seen a concerted campaign against Washington since the end of the first week of February. And that culminated on March 12th with that charge from a foreign ministry spokesman that the U.S. Army spread the virus to Wuhan, almost intimating germ warfare.
Is their propaganda winning right now, the Chinese propaganda?
It depends. In the United States, I don't think that it is, but around the world, it is resonating in certain places. Beijing's campaign has been relentless. There is a reservoir of anti-Americanism around the world, and also some countries, like Chinese money, and so they'll accept whatever Beijing says. So we've got to be concerned that this message from Beijing, although it is disinformation, although it's grossly irresponsible, demonstrably false, nonetheless has adherents.
So that aside, all right, China is claiming tonight there are no new cases of the disease in Wuhan, and all new cases are coming from visitors. So what's to believe anymore? As I'm an American at home watching TV, and I'm thinking, who am I to believe here?
Yeah, well, certainly China's claims are not credible. Clearly the virus has subsided from where it was, for instance, in January and February. But nonetheless, there are reports about new infections in Wuhan, the epicenter of the disease. Also, people have been talking about Beijing as a few clusters there as well. It is just very difficult to believe that cases have gone to zero, or at least the non-imported cases have gone to zero. So, and this is not consistent with the modeling that we have seen. And it's just not consistent with our experience about coronaviruses. So, no, we can't believe what Beijing's been saying.
The doctor who initially reported this, he was essentially told to shut up, threatened. The Chinese people know this happened. So what's been the response there?
Well, the death of Dr. Li Wenlong, the doctor you referred to, one of the Wuhan 8, who in late December warned the people of Wuhan about this disease, his death on February 7th has ignited anger across China's social media platforms. People there have adopted Do You Hear the People Sing, which is that politically impactful song from Les Miserables, the same song that people in Hong Kong use to protest China. So Beijing knows it's in trouble, especially because people in China are talking about Chernobyl. This is China's Chernobyl, indicating perhaps the end of the Communist Party. So These narratives really upset Beijing.
Do you think this is something that could end communism in China as we know it?
It's possible, just as Chernobyl was a factor in undermining Soviet control. This is possible. We don't know when it might happen. I thought it would happen earlier than now. But the point is, a lot of people in China are demanding fundamental political reform, and you do have the elements in place for regime failure.
Well, it's unbelievable. One cover-up, lies, whatever you want to call it, and the world is now in the state it's in. Gordon Chang, author of The Coming Collapse of China, thanks for speaking with us tonight.
Thank you, Owen.